Hi, this is Rosina, Rosina's Italian Kitchen, and today we're making cinnamon rolls. This recipe is one of my mother-in-law's. So anyway, I got the recipe from her, and what you need, I kind of cheated a little bit, and I made the dough with my bread machine. And of course you could do it by hand, but that's a lot of effort. So now I'm rolling it out to a rectangle of 10 by 12 by 24 to get a nice rectangle to make the cinnamon rolls. And we'll continue with what I'm going to sprinkle it with. This will take a bit of time here. This will probably take a little bit of time. We're now going to spread butter on the batter, on the dough, after it's been rolled out to a rectangle. And then we will sprinkle the sugar. I use a little bit of granulated sugar and a little bit of brown sugar. And then I put raisins in there as well. But that's optional if people like raisins. And you'll see as soon as I finish spreading the butter that I'll be sprinkling the ingredients in here, and then I'll have to cut the cinnamon rolls. And I have, the reason for the size is so I get equal size for cinnamon rolls. So this just takes a while to get plenty of butter on here. Now we'll sprinkle a bit of white sugar on this rectangle. Just decide I will just bring the butter all the way to the edge here. There. Now I'll sprinkle with, we don't have to have a lot of sugar, just sprinkle it. And rather generous with the white sugar and then the brown sugar. I kind of like the difference, the different sugars. The brown sugar has obviously a different flavor. So we'll do that. So yeah, I suppose I'm probably using a couple of tablespoons of sugar, the white sugar, granulated. And now I will sprinkle the brown sugar. And I may have to do this by hand a little bit because it doesn't sprinkle like the granulated sugar. And then obviously I try and spread it again. And I also will sprinkle cinnamon. And cinnamon could have been sprinkled before or after. It doesn't matter a lot. But we have to make sure that each cinnamon roll will have the same cinnamon, brown sugar, and granulated sugar, and all that. Just stop it now. So we just continue with this. There. Now I will put the cinnamon on here. Well, before that, I think I will just kind of spread this a little bit, the brown sugar, because it doesn't sprinkle. So I'll just spread it, and that should be good. Then I'll sprinkle the cinnamon, and then place the raisins here and there. Maybe I'll just put just a dab more of brown sugar. Measurements for this is just, it's up to the person that's making how much sugar they want to use. But everything tastes better with a bit of sugar, obviously. Okay, just maybe a touch more, kind of add where there isn't much. There we go. There we go. I think that it'll bake in when it's baking. It melts and it'll spread. And now I'm going to put the cinnamon. And I like plenty of cinnamon. That's why they're called cinnamon rolls, I guess. So, and then at the end I'll put the raisins, roll them up, and cut them. I think You see it's quite a bit of cinnamon, but when it expands, that when the cinnamon rolls are baking, that will do it for the cinnamon, I think, pretty much. Sure, get it on the ends. Okay, and now I'll place the raisins in here. Just here or there, whatever. Some people like raisins and some don't, so they can easily pick them out. When we finish this, and you'll see how we roll them up. Continuing with the raisins. I happen to like lots of raisins, but that isn't true with everybody. And we will soon be rolling them up and see the process. Now I kind of added a little bit to the cinnamon rolls. Everybody, when they make things, they deviate somewhat from the recipe, and that's the only thing that's critical or more important is the dough itself. And once you get the dough down and the baking time and things like that, it's fine. So I think we're just about ready to roll them up. Now here we go, we're gonna roll the cinnamon rolls. This takes a little bit of time, but it's not bad. But it's so much fun making them, and your results at the end are so good. And they taste pretty darn good, especially since if you have them when they're nice and warm, when you pull them out of the oven. And it's just wonderful. I've had lots of fun making these, and of course enjoy eating them as well. Now I've rolled this up, and I want to make sure that I seal the seam right here. And then I'm going to measure again, because I want to end up with 24 inches of length, because I want to have them equal. See how I'm kind of working this, so kind of squishing it a little bit. Once you do it once or twice, it comes out pretty well. So let me see what this measures to. You have to have the 24 inches for the Pyrex size. Okay, so I'm making sure that I have exactly 24 inches, and then I'll cut them in 2-inch pieces. See, the center is kind of seems a little fuller than the sides, so it's very forgiving whatever you do with the cinnamon rolls. And they're very good in the morning, so I prefer making them the day ahead of time. And then when we're through with this process and I put them in the Pyrex, after I cut them and place them there, they should all be touching each cinnamon roll. So now I'm going to get my knife and cut them in 2-inch pieces. 2-inch sections. So I'll start over on this side. So I'll just kind of 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, and 24. Now I'll finish cutting them. And after I finish cutting them, I'll put them in the Pyrex. I'll move this. Some people have a good eye for measurements. I like to have my my yardstick or whatever, some kind of measurement device, so they all are equal size. It seems like that end one's a little bit thinner, but that's okay. Someone will like a smaller one. I try to make them pretty equal, but sometimes it doesn't work out that way. So now I'm going to place them in the Pyrex, and to these ends I usually put them down. But here, there. And when I'm finished putting them in, placing them in here, I press them down because I'm not going to bake them today. I'm going to put them, cover them with saran wrap, and then I will put them in the refrigerator overnight. Then I take them out in the morning, and I'll let them rise and then bake them. So now I'll show you my method of pressing them down. I press them down like that, but they have to touch, otherwise you'll have them, baked kind of separately. This will be make them softer after they're baked and all. So I do this process and make sure I go back and that they're all touching. And in the morning, this will be part 1, and in the morning we'll do part 2 after I have taken them out of the refrigerator and had them rise, and have my preheated oven at 350. So, see, I'm not quite through with this. Because I do this until they really are like one big pan. See how I'm trying to get them to touch. This keeps them all like they were baked together. And that's what you want to do. But it does take a little bit of time to do this. To get those corners touching. I'm trying to do that. So you really flatten them, actually, what you're doing. And then they, of course, double in size when you let them rise in the morning. And then they're ready to bake. So I'm just about ready to cover them with saran wrap and put them in the refrigerator. Just as soon as I make sure that these are all touching all the sides and so forth. There shouldn't be any spaces in between. And just really flatten them, because they will rise. Trust me, they will rise. Unless we used yeast that was old or something, they will definitely rise. And I think that'll end our part 1 of this baking cinnamon rolls, or making them, and then we'll continue tomorrow with part 2.